And we are back, or actually we're here for the first time. Investor Guys Podcast. I'm Kevin Mills. I've got Bill Barnett over here. We were just talking off screen, so that's why we're chuckling and laughing. Bill, I know you are hard at work looking at properties in Cleveland, and one of the things we actually were talking about just before we went on the air. But one of the topics that we wanted to talk about today was things that we do to properties once we get them to make them more appealing. And this is across the board, not just for Cleveland. We've got Cleveland coming up, but this is something that I definitely focus on in Cleveland. We were just talking about this as well. But no matter what the property is, if it's a flip, whatever it is, if we have an end user of any type, whether it's going to be a renter or a buyer, there are things that we can do to the property to make that more appealing to that tenant or to that buyer. And a lot of times it goes beyond just, bright colors in the kitchen or an updated bathroom or fresh carpet. I wanted to ask you, some of the things, because I know you do a lot of flips, okay? Some of the things that you see on almost a regular basis, improvements that can be made to properties that maybe go beyond the basics of fresh carpet, that type of thing, things that are outside of the box that most people might not look at. Because one of the traps that I see all the time, and I know you see this too, and we see this even on the TV shows that we watch, the fake flip houses and everything else. A lot of times the investor goes in and they will renovate this house like it's going to be their own house. They'll put the countertops and the cabinets and the flooring and everything else that they like into the property because they feel like, oh, this is what I want. This is what I want, where I would buy. That doesn't necessarily pan out to the end user. They may have a different taste, for one. And for two, a lot of times you're going to put nicer things in your own home than you should put into a property that you're trying to flip or trying to rent out. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Bill.
Okay. So one of the things that I love to do, and look, you can do this on realtor.com. So one of the great things about that site is not going to tell you something that you have to be a licensed agent to be able to go do. So one of the things that I like to do is always I'm looking at comps. So when I'm looking at, here's a property that I'm looking at to purchase, I want to see what the sales are in the neighborhood. And I want to see what the top end sales are. I want to see what's the high end number that I should be able to get for this house once I've gone through it top to bottom. Once I find 3 or 4 properties, and sometimes, that's a little harder to do, but this is also part of farming a neighborhood or picking a neighborhood that you want to play in, is I look at subdivisions that are high traffic subdivisions. I like big subdivisions. I like subdivisions that have a lot of regular turnover. So then I can go into those subdivisions and I can easily find 3, 5, 7 houses that have sold at the top end of the market for that subdivision. Then I want to look at the pictures on realtor.com for those houses to see what is different about that house from the houses that are longer on market or not pulling as much money. It's pretty much all the same, but I'm looking for how can I go in and add high perceived value without breaking the bank. One of the things that I love to do, and I do it in all my properties across the board, is I put in crown molding. And I don't put in, crummy little crown molding. I put in 6-inch molding. And you'd be shocked at how inexpensive you can get that. Now, I'm not putting in stain grade. I'm putting in paint grade. And I'm not putting in wood. I'm putting in
MDF.
It's not Mylar, but it's a fake wood. But once you paint it, it doesn't matter. And obviously, it is a decorative piece only. And so for a typical house, usually for $1,000 or less, I can have that house fully installed with crown molded and painted. And when I do that, it adds a ton of value to the property. Typically what we'll do is we'll figure out what's the linear square footage we need, we'll buy it. You buy about 10% more to accommodate cuts. And then we just stick it on sawhorses out in the backyard and spray it and paint it at one time before we put it up. Then we put it up, and then I have one guy, and these are typically guys, depending on where you are. Here, most of these guys are $15 an hour for this unskilled type of labor. They might be 25 or 30 where you are for an unskilled labor, but it's going to be the low end of your hourly labor. I'm going to have a guy go in, and he'll spend maybe half a day on a ladder going around, caulking up the seams really nicely, and then putting a dab of caulk over the nails. And so that when it's done, it is just gorgeous. It's a great value add to the property. So that's one of the things I love to do. I love to also put in the not laminate, I put in the vinyl wood floors. And I do this on flips and rentals. I stay away from laminate. It is, you know, when it came out, the industry was selling that to us as, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's so cheap. You're going to love it. It looks like wood. And we all kind of fell for it when it first came out. And within a year, we were going, oh man, this is a cheap product. It's not cost cheap. It's just cheap. It's loud. And it has a very poor wear factor to it. But the vinyl wood, that's a very different product. It's not as cheap as laminate, but it's not nearly expensive as real wood. And it's a product that holds up fabulously well. So when I'm doing a rental property, I like to go with more of that, very little carpet, if any, in the rentals, because of you just don't get the wear out of it, even if you put nice carpet in it. All right, so we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back with more investorguyspodcast.com, and we'll jump into more what you can do to get great value on your flips and on your rentals. We'll see you after the break.
We'll see you on the other side.
A lot of real estate training programs claim that they will make you a millionaire, but how many of them will guarantee it? The Millionaire Blueprint comes with a millionaire guarantee. I guarantee that if you use the strategies and you use the formulas that you learn in the Millionaire Blueprint, you will be a millionaire. I guarantee that with a double your money back guarantee. Whether you have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest or absolutely nothing, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how to start investing and be a millionaire guaranteed. Now, I can't tell you all about it in this short amount of time, so go to the guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. That's the guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. Watch the videos there. Read about the guarantee. Read more about what we offer with the Millionaire Blueprint. Get signed up. I'll see you in Palm Beach. Once a month, with the exception of December, Bill and I go to markets where we have experience and we host a real estate buyers event. These are markets that have great return potential for your real estate portfolio. We're going to show you the properties that we buy. We're going to show you where to buy, where not to buy, the strategies to use to make great income from these properties. We're also going to show you resources and individuals here on the ground that you can use to start building your team so that you can repeat this process over and over. The real estate buyers events are designed to put high-performing properties in your portfolio right away. If you're interested in hearing more about the Real Estate Buyers Event, realestatebuyersevent.com. That's realestatebuyersevent.com. Read more about the events, check out the schedule, and register. We'll see you there.
And we're back, and just before the break, we were talking about improvements to make. And one of the points that Bill brought up, and it's something I want to talk about really quick, is he puts the laminate flooring into his rental properties. And we do different things. Like in Cleveland, we have a lot of hardwood floors, and I actually will have the hardwood floors if they need it. I'll have them sanded, and we'll put a commercial polyurethane on there that should last for about 20 years. But what's key is durability. carpet is not very durable. It's easy to stain. It's easy to get torn up. It wears in doorways and walkways. A wood floor is much more durable, and it also allows your tenant to be creative because they can get carpets from anywhere from Macy's and Wayfair to, you know, Home Depot and Big Lots to actually put around and make their place their own without having the client come in or the tenant come in and say, you know, I don't really like that color of carpet, or it's a boring color of carpet. It's like all the other apartments that I have seen, you know, for the last 2 weeks looking at apartments. A bare floor is a blank slate for them. So a lot of times you have tenants, especially in higher end markets, not Cleveland, but higher end markets, they already have furniture and they're looking for a place that their furniture is going to look great. It's not necessarily, oh, I love this apartment, I love the light, or I love the location. It's like my couch, and I've literally heard tenants say things like that. My couch is going to look good there, and my bar is going to look good there. You know, so if you can give them a blank slate to work with that is going to have durability, that's really, really important. And keep that in mind for all of your finishes, especially on a rental property. The more durable you can make your cabinets and countertops and flooring and doors and even the doorknobs that you use. Don't buy cheap doorknobs, because I promise you they come apart. Okay, the more durable you can make it, the better it's going to be for you, because maintenance to have that doorknob fixed is considerably more than that doorknob cost you when you bought it at Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever it was that you first bought it.
Yeah, so that's pretty much floors. On rentals, I do my best to stay away from carpet, and I do, period. I don't use laminate anything for anything. Typically on both my properties will add gutters to them. Now, that is a perceived value, yes, but I really want to have those on rental properties, because if we're going to have these properties for a long time, you want to make sure that your roof and your fascia and soffits hold up well. You don't have gutters on there, you're going to have problems with that. So I make sure that we add gutters. They run different all over the country. Around here, I'm able to get them for $5 a linear foot installed, so not a big deal there. So those are a couple of things that I really like. When you look at countertops, it is getting to a point that Formica has gone up so much and granite has come down so much. If you shop it, and look, I go the 2 millimeter, or 2 centimeter, excuse me. I don't need to go thicker than that. And so I like putting in granite. I'll have about 4 people that I buy granite from around the Metroplex. They know me. I'm always going to they call it their scrap yard. I call it the bargain basement. It's typically out behind the shop. It's away from their inventory. It's their leftovers. So when you're looking at one house and it's not big, it's very easy typically to find enough granite to do a kitchen in there. And that is another surface that's going to wear extremely well. Yes, it looks fabulous. Yes, it has a great perceived value. What I love about it on top of those things is that it's going to wear really well. So if somebody takes a hot pan off of the stove or off of the oven and they set it on granite, you're not going to have an issue with it. When they set it on Formica, they're going to burn it. You got to replace it. Now, sometimes you can spray it, but that's gotten so expensive that it's just as easy to replace. But it just wears so much better. It does have a great perceived value at a property. And so, again, that's one of those things that I love to do because of the way it's perceived by the client, whether I'm selling or whether I'm renting, and because of the durability that I get out of the product. Now, the other things is just small things like I do ceiling fans in most of my properties, both rental and flip properties. And I'm looking at an inexpensive fan. I can go to Home Depot and buy these from $65 to $80 all day long. But if you go and talk to a lighting company. There are lighting companies all around. The guy that I use here in town actually bought a ceiling fan company, and I'd never heard of the company that he bought. And I'm able to pick up product at 45 to 50 bucks all day long, 52 inch with a light kit. And I use the same one throughout the property. I want to make sure my bedrooms have it. May not be as crucial in the northern part of the country as it is for Kevin and I, but you buy a house in Texas, it doesn't have ceiling fans in it, you're going to end up putting it in. So they have less of a perceived value if they're not there. Same thing I would imagine down in Miami. If you're close to the water, you get breezes. If not, you want to create your own breeze. So
yeah, and honestly, even in Cleveland, we do put in ceiling fans, especially in the bedrooms, because even during the winter time, those ceiling fans help circulate the heat instead of having a hot spot. A lot of the properties, the older properties that we have, they'll have forced air. So there'll be a duct on one wall, or there'll be a radiator on one wall under a window. And moving that warm air from that window or that radiator or that duct over to the other side of the room or throughout the house, having a ceiling fan is great for that. And one of the things that I also do, I know we're going to come up on a break, so maybe we'll take the break and we'll talk about that real quick after that.
All right, hang with us for more Investor Guys podcast. We'll be right back after the break with Kevin and Bill.
My name's Kevin Mills. I have a real estate training program that is so powerful, I will back it up with a double your money back guarantee that it will make you a millionaire. That's right. Double your money back guarantee that you will be a millionaire if you use what you learn in the Millionaire Blueprint. I call it the Guaranteed Millionaire Blueprint, and you can read more about it and watch more videos at guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. That's guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. Check it out. All the information is there. 11 months out of the year, Bill and I host real estate buyers events in cities like Cleveland, Ohio, where we ourselves invest and see great returns. We show investors the types of strategies we're using, the types of properties we're using. We introduce them to people here on the ground and the resources that they can use to get started right away. Day 4 of this event, we're actually touring properties and making offers on properties. This event was designed to put properties in your portfolio right away, high-performing properties. Read more about the Real Estate Buyers event. Get registered. We'll see you at the next event, realestatebuyersevent.com.
And we are back. And one of the things I like to do is, especially for even just my Section 8 tenants, I do things that are just slightly nicer, because Section 8 tenants are looking at a lot of properties that are run down, just because a lot of landlords that provide Section 8 properties, they just don't care as long as they're getting that paycheck. And in a market like Cleveland, where you have a shortage of Section 8 housing, they know they're going to have tenants no matter what. Yeah. I like to use nicer looking doorknobs. In the kitchen, I will use nicer looking fixtures. In the bathroom, I'll get a nicer looking faucet and bassinet setup, vanity setup for the bathroom, because it pops. It's a difference when somebody's going and looking at something that's literally 50, 60, 70 years old versus something that looks more decorator, more appealing than what was put in the property when it was built in 1920 or 1910 or whatever it was. Another thing that I do is in the dining area, I'll get a chandelier. It doesn't have to be a great, big, expensive chandelier. It can be something simple that looks good, 6 little lights and brass, whatever else. Hang it in the dining area. And when a Section 8 tenant comes in and they see that moves them, literally. Because they're used to seeing a ceiling fan or just regular old light up on the ceiling there, because they're used to a no frills, bare bones type of thing. Yep. Now, yes, these things do cost a few dollars more for each of these items, but my tenants stay longer, so I have a lower vacancy factor. I also rent my properties much, much quicker than anybody else because they've got that pop to them. So it may cost me a few dollars more when I'm putting this all together, but it's making me considerably more money on the tail end. Yep. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about was changing the actual, not the structure necessarily, but adding structural benefits to the property to make it more appealing. And one of the things that we talked about in Cleveland has basements. Now, I don't do this on rental properties, but if I'm purchasing a property that has a basement and I'm going to flip it, I will finish out the basement. I will put the waterproofing in that it needs to have so that I'm not putting drywall up against wet walls or anything else. We'll drywall it, we'll panel it, we'll put carpet down it because it's a concrete floor. If I'm doing a flip, doesn't matter. They can worry about what carpet they want. We make it essentially additional living space for whoever's going to buy it. It can be a family room, it can be a study, it can be an office. We've even put bedrooms in the basement before, as long as there are windows, up above so that somebody can get out. That is something that costs literally $5,000 or less to do a nice job on a basement, and you're going to get considerably more on your return selling the house, because that is more usable space that usually doesn't show up on the taxpayer's roll. So you've got more square footage on your house that you're able to use and take advantage of that you're not paying taxes on, because they don't consider basements part of your tax roll. One of the things that we do in Cleveland is we look for buildings that have full-size attics. And if you're not familiar with the way things are built in the old days, they had an attic that was literally big enough for me to stand up in, and I'm 6'7", okay? You can stand up in the attic. The walls may be pitched because it's the roof, but there's enough space to put more bedrooms. And in Cleveland, we add another 2 or more bedrooms if we're able to in that space. In any situation where you are getting rent, you're getting paid more for more bedrooms. So if you're adding 2 bedrooms to a unit, you're adding more value to your rental property. And whether that's a rental property you're going to keep or you're going to flip for somebody else to use as a rental property, that gives that property more value forever and ever and ever moving forward. So there are lots of different types of things that we can do to properties to improve the value of the property. And there are things that we can do to improve the aesthetics of the property to make somebody want to purchase it, make somebody want to stay there longer. And all those are things that we need to look at when we go into a property without going overboard, without going over budget. We all know that old rule of thumb, okay? Use neutral colors for walls, use neutral colors for flooring, use neutral colors for cabinets and everything else. We're out the door a little bit on that because the in thing right now is contrasting colors. But if you're trying to sell a house, that's still a rule of thumb that you really need to abide by. Because when somebody walks in and they see the color that you like, they may not like it. If they're seeing beige or they're seeing bone white, then they're used to that and they're okay with that because they know, you know what, I can paint over that easy. They're not being affronted by it. They can put whatever color they want to put on top of that. Billy, you still with me? Because it looks like your video froze up.
No, I'm still here.
All right.
So
I've just got your smiling face here right now. So I don't
my back yet?
Was that? No. And this happened to us last time, but we're close to wrapping up. So if you want to go ahead and give me your final thoughts.
Yeah, on this color thing, right back to realtor.com, looking at properties in the neighborhood and in the area that you're going to be buying in, because different areas have different color palettes. And like I'll give you Vegas as an example. I was doing some property in Vegas years ago, and we had long in Texas stopped using white on our walls. That was just at the time, and now it's gotten to where kitchens are almost all white, especially cabinetry here. But went out there, and everything in Vegas was white. Everything was white inside. Everything was white inside. And you go to $1 million house, you go to $2 million house, you go into a $300,000 or $200,000 house, and everything was white, and it drove me crazy. But you know what? It was what that market was, and that has to do with the desert stuff and all. So take a look at, again, hop on realtor.com, take a look at properties in your neighborhood that you are buying in, and check out the color palettes. You're going to find that flippers and rehabbers that are doing this on a regular basis have a pretty good palette You'll see things in common. Also, go look at your new subdivisions so you can see what the builders in your area are using, because they're spending a lot of money and we can benefit from that without having to spend it for a designer.
Bill, thank you again, and looking forward to
Always, brother.
seeing you soon. I'm going to wrap up. I can't see your face. I got a still image of your smiling face right here. We will see all of you on the next episode of the Investor Guys podcast. And Bill, I'll talk to you later on. You guys have a great day. Happy investing.